So you're thinking about moving to Fayetteville, North Carolina, Cumberland County, or surrounding areas? Well, in today's video, we're going to talk to you about the home buying process. I know a lot of times as first-time home buyers, you are very curious as to how does this process work? What do we do first? Well, if you're interested in that, you want to stick around to the end of the video so you don't miss any of the important information that we want to share with you about the home buying process. Now, if this is your first time to our channel, you want to go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to receive all of the important information that we want to share with you about the current market of the great city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, Cumberland County, and surrounding areas. My name is Michelle Capers and my husband is Smiley Capers, and we are the owners of Moving Forward Real Estate. And believe it or not, we get calls and texts and emails from clients just like you on a daily basis. And we are so excited to get to meet you and to work with you. Now, whether you're a buyer or a seller or even investor looking to move in 90 days or even 9 months, go ahead, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and all of our information will be in the description box below. We want to help you make a smooth move to the great city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, Cumberland County, and surrounding areas. Now, let's jump into the home buying process. Now, of course, the first thing that you want to do is go ahead and fill out an application. You want to find a good lender, and here at Moving Forward with Real Estate, we do have a preferred lender, Andy Enloe with Integrity. But if you don't want to use him, there's so many other lenders out there that you can use. You may want to use your own, banking institution. So that will be your choice. But the first thing that you want to do is get pre-qualified. So a good lender also, before we even get into applying or submitting an offer, should I say, we want to make sure that you are absolutely 100% ready to go. So when you fill out that application, a good lender wants to go ahead and look at your income as well, the documents. So whatever you put on your application that you make, $5,000, $10,000, or whatever it is that you make, you want to be able to justify what you're saying. So just make sure you are 100% accurate when you're filling out the application as to how much you make, because you're going to have to be able to show proof of everything that you said that you make, so they can go ahead and qualify you and be accurate with that. So whatever it is that you get, alimony, it could be child support, it could be retirement, or whatever you have, go ahead and keep all those documentations and add that to the list, because then that will also be able to increase your buying power. So you want to, the first thing that happens when we try to get you to that finish line and purchasing a home, we want to get you pre-qualified, because this also lets you know the buying power, so we can go out there and look for homes that is specific to that number. We don't want to go out there and I have seen this happen earlier on in my career, that we just start looking for homes on the onset we haven't even gotten approved. That is a no-no. We need to get approved first so we can know where we need to stay at, what your budget is, know exactly what you qualify for, so we're not overextending you. And not just that, looking for homes that's more. A downfall for that is if you're qualified for a $250,000 home and we are looking for $300,000 homes, sometimes those homes look totally different, right? That's a $50,000 gap. So we are looking for a $300,000. We are looking at $300,000 home, but you haven't gotten pre-approved yet. So you have fallen in love with this $300,000 home. Now we're going to go backwards and get you pre-qualified, but you only qualify for $250,000. That is a huge letdown. So buyers out there, please understand, when you're talking to realtors, and prayerfully you would choose Moving Forward Real Estate, we are not trying to get you pre-qualified just for, I don't know, even know what the reasons is sometimes that people, we just want you to get qualified. We need to get you pre-qualified first, not only to find out what your buying power is, but just to see if you qualify, because again, I started off, some years ago, and we are eager. I'm eager as a new realtor. We're going out there and we're looking for homes. Again, you have fallen in love with this home. Now we're going to go backwards and fill out the application and you don't qualify. that's hurtful. It's heart-wrenching, and then it's a lot of time that we have wasted looking at 3, 4, 5 homes, and you don't even qualify. So you have to. So please get pre-qualified first. It will benefit you, the realtor, and all parties involved. So the next thing that happens in the buying process is, once you get pre-approved, of course, then we're going to go out there and look for that home. So once you know your buying power, that's the next thing that we're going to do. What we normally do at Moving Forward Real Estate, I will set you up on a home search, within your criteria and your, whatever your needs are and wants, in a home, and, also, not maxing you out or going over, you're qualified for $250. I'm not going to send you $300,000 homes. So that's the first thing. Once we know that you're qualified for whatever X amount, then I'm going to put you together a list, and you're going to get that home search twice a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. So we'll start looking fervently for your home, and then start going to look at some of those homes on a weekly, daily, weekly basis, until you find the one that you are ready to purchase. Once you find that home that you love and you just can't do without, this is the one we're going to submit an offer. So that will be the next step in the home buying process. We will submit an offer once you find the home of your dream. Now, the next thing that happens once you submit that offer, and let's just say, hey, you got accepted. The seller has accepted your terms, and we are now under contract. The next thing that happens is we need to collect, as a realtor, I need to collect from you your due diligence deposit and your earnest money deposit. And those are two deposits that are built in the offer to purchase. So once we come together and we say, okay, what we're going to offer on the home, and then what we're going to put down for due diligence, and what we're going to put down for earnest money, we're going to discuss all of this stuff when I put together your offer before we submit it. Whatever those monies are, I need to collect that due diligence fee. We call it a deposit, but I want you to keep in mind that it's a fee, because this is an item that you do not get back. So the difference with a due diligence fee / deposit, let's just say due diligence fee, you don't get that back. If something was to happen and you get in this transaction and you just change your mind, you got cold feet or whatever have you, please understand the due diligence deposit, whatever you submit, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, if you back out of this contract, you can, for any reason that you want to, please understand you do not get that due diligence fee back. Now, any deposits that you submit, your due diligence fee and your earnest money deposit, you do get credit for that at the end. So you don't lose that money. That money is just not somewhere floating in the air and you just gave it up for no reason. Anything that you put down, once you complete the contract, this transaction, all the way to the end, to the settlement date, you will get credit for that at the end. It will come off of your closing costs. So the way that looks is you have to bring $10,000 to the table right at the end. This is what your closing costs will be. Your down payment and your closing costs. This is just an example. And that amount is $10,000. Well, in the beginning, you submitted, let's just say $5,000 between the earnest money and your due diligence fee. You're going to get credit for that $5,000. So they're going to subtract that $5,000 from what you have to bring at the end, which is your $10,000. So now what? You only have to bring $5,000 to the table because you have already put in $5,000 at the beginning. Let's just go back a little bit to that due diligence fee. Now, what that due diligence fee is a deposit that you're making. This is monies that you're writing directly to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the owner of this home, the sellers of this home. You're writing this check out to them for them to take their home off of the market, for us to go ahead and do all of the inspections that we want, and really to make that decision if you really want to purchase this home, which I'm sure you will once we go into this contract, and now you know that, understand what a due diligence fee is, because you don't want to go into this contract putting any type, I don't care if it's $250 or $500, whatever it is, you don't want to just throw money away. Once it's accepted, if you walk away, you have a 2-week due diligence period where we're going to get all of our inspections done. That will be the next thing that we do once we make the money exchange and we submitted the offer, it was accepted. I will collect those funds from you. We have 5 days to get that earnest money to the attorney. The attorneys hold the earnest money. However, that due diligence check, you need to give that to me and write it out to the sellers, and I will get that to them, and I need to have that immediately, pretty much within the next 24 hours. I need those funds ASAP. Just understand, when it comes down to especially hefty due diligence, which we have seen here within the last maybe a year to 2 years ago, in this seller's market that we were in, you were seeing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that people were putting down in due diligence because the inventory was so low. You know, so everybody was competing for homes. Homes were you know, being sold for much more than what they probably were worth at that time, but people were willing to pay the extra money to get the home, to win, you know, the offer, because, you know, they needed a home. So, but that's, you know, another topic, and we will discuss once it's time for you to actually purchase your home. You'll let us know, and we can let you know what market we're in at that time, and we will strategize to try to get you that offer accepted. So the next thing that I will do for you once all of that is done, then the next thing that happens in the home buying process is we will start setting up our inspections. So, you know, the bigger inspections are pretty much your home inspection, your termite inspection, and then you're also going to have an appraisal an inspection, and that kind of goes through the lender. The lender will schedule that. Most of the time we don't even know who the appraiser is, but however, those are kind of like your top 3 inspections that you're going to be doing, unless you're having a house that has well water, you know, or something like that, a septic and things like that, maybe that or a mobile home that we need to get that foundation, that skirt part of the mobile home, we need to get that inspected as well. So depending on your home, I mean, the top 3 things is your, you know, home inspection, your termite inspection, and then towards the end, the appraisal will be set up and scheduled, you know, that first week that we go under contract. They might not go out for another 2 weeks or so to inspect the home, but you always, you know, at a pre-existing home, you know, we recommend that you always get a home inspection. Even if we're, you know, submitting an offer as is, it's very much important for you as a buyer to go ahead and get a home inspection for your peace of mind. Also understand, I have gotten home inspections on new constructions, and it has been 25-30 pages. So I don't want to get into much details with that, but just understand, once you get that home inspection, it could be anywhere from 40 to 80 pages. Don't panic, but we'll talk more about that once that time comes. So this is the next step, is to get all of your inspections scheduled and get them, you know, submitted. So once we get your inspections scheduled, the inspectors will go out there and inspect the property, do whatever they do, and then they'll send us a report, and then we'll put together a due diligence repair request to the seller. We will submit that to the seller for specific items. You know, mainly we're looking for big ticket items, but, you know, just depending on what, you know, the issues that we've seen in the inspection report, once we get that back, or if the house is coming up deemed to have termites, you know, we will put that all in a due diligence repair request, and we will submit that to the listing agent, and we will do our negotiation on the repairs. So that will be the next thing that we do, negotiating the repairs and getting those things rectified. So at this point in the transaction, we should be about 2 weeks in. You should have a final, maybe around the 2nd or 3rd week, but I'm thinking more so around the 2nd week. We should have a final approval on, you know, your loan altogether. Now you're going to get a pre-approval, and the lenders that I use are sharp in that. So once you fill out that application again and you submit all your documentation that you need, they're going to go through all of that and make sure at that point that you're pre-approved and that they know that they can get you to the finish line. That's when they submit to me a pre-approval letter. And just also going back to the beginning, when we submit the offer, with every offer we have to have a pre-approval letter, so we have to have that from the lender. Now throughout the process, you're going to submit your documents or some more documents or whatever they're asking for you, and then they're going to put a packet together and send that off to underwriting for your final approval. So but they're going to already, a good lender, they're going to already have you quote unquote finally approved. But this is just kind of like the preliminaries that we got to do, that they have to do, and get all that paperwork together and submit that to underwriting for the final, just to make sure. It's always a check and balance. So just in case the loan officer missed something, underwriting will pick that up, and if anything else is required, they will request that of you. So around that second week, we want to make sure that we're good to go on that part. So again, with the appraiser, at this time, your appraiser should be already scheduling going out there to appraise the home. Now, with most lenders, they will take your credit card information and keep that on file. Just in case you are to back out of this contract, they will charge you for the appraiser. But once you complete it, if you complete the transaction all the way to settlement to closing, that's not an out-of-pocket expense that you have to really be concerned about. Just your home inspection and your termite inspection. And now if you are going VA requires the seller to pay for the termite inspection. I don't know why, but that's just the rule that VA has. So if you are going VA funding, financing, VA requires the sellers to pay for your termite inspection. Okay, and the next thing that we are waiting for is once that we get a clear to close, meaning everything is cleared, your documents are cleared. We're waiting for that appraiser to come back in and say, hey, this house is valued at $200,000, which we have went under contract for with no, contingencies. Nothing is required, no repairs that they are requesting from the seller. Then we are pretty much at the end of the home buying, the way the transaction actually works. So we'll get a clear to close, then we'll get that appraisal that comes back. Let's just say everything all went well. Then we're going to be getting some receiving a CD and an ALTA with all it, which is the closing disclosures, all the money that has been credited and debited by the sellers and the buyers, any debits or credits that any credits that the sellers has given to the buyers, or so on and so forth. The attorneys and the finance companies, they reconcile these numbers and get them all squared away so we can get the paperwork that's needed for us to go to settlement. Now, from the start of the contract, at the beginning when we are accepted, it usually takes about 4 weeks, give or take, sometimes 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, but I have been seeing here consistently it's been taking about 4 weeks from the beginning, that from the onset of the conception of the executed contract to the closing date. It only takes about a month. So once we get all of that stuff completed, we are scheduled to close, and then we'll go ahead and go to settlement. So here, what we call, back in the day, it used to be called closing. You get your keys. So there's some things that has happened down through the years that the way we do it here in North Carolina is when we schedule that date for June the 10th for us to go in and do our closing, what we call settlement. That's when you sign all that big thick of paperwork. Once that is completed, they take the deed, the attorneys take the deed, and then they record it with the courts. You do not receive your keys until the deed is recorded. So again, Once you go to settlement on June 10th, because that is your closing date, you sign all the documents. Please understand, once that is done, you will not receive the keys to your home until the deed is recorded. Most of the time I try to set up my closings, and of course it depends on the attorney's schedule, but I try to set them up in advance so that we are closing first thing in the morning. It usually takes anywhere between 2 to 4 hours, just depending on what attorney that you use, for us to get that deed recorded so that I can release those keys to you. Not only will you not receive the keys, but we don't get paid either. So it's not something like we're getting paid and you have to hold out. Everybody got to wait until that deed is recorded and nothing is funded, and you cannot receive the keys until that deed is recorded. So that pretty much is the home buying process from, start to finish on how that works. And once that deed is recorded, it should be within that, same day if we are closing 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And the attorneys that I use are very good and proficient at doing that and getting that done. We will get you the keys and you will be moving into your new home. And one little small tip also that I want to add to this: when we are in the home buying process, buyers, understand, do not, I know you're excited and you want your new home, your furniture, the table, the chairs, and all of that. Once we go under contract and you are approved, do not charge up anything on your credit cards. I don't care if it's a piece of bubble gum. Do not make any charges. Do not open up any accounts. None of that until we close. After we close, that's your house, it's your baby, it's your cards, it's your credit. You can do whatever you want to do. But from the onset of you getting approved until the end, you have to just wait it out before you make any sudden moves. Do not create any type of turbulence or anything, because the lenders are going to check your credit again, maybe once, maybe twice throughout the transaction. So just understand, they're going to look at your bank account again. So we got to stay squeaky clean throughout this process. But that is just another little, just an added tip for you. Do not charge up anything. Keep everything at a steady pace until we close. And then once we close, you have your life back to do whatever you choose to do. Now, I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any comments, questions, or concern, please add that to the description box below. We want to help you make a smooth move to the great city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And once you find that beautiful home that you're ready to purchase, the clearest, smoothest, easiest transition for you. Make this home buying experience not so hectic, and it doesn't have to be hectic. It doesn't have to be stressful. If you watch our video on the buyer's tips on to get yourself prepared, that once we get to this area, it should be a smooth transition. So as always, we are moving forward one home at a time, and we will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.